Okay, hello, we're here now with Jackie Fielder. She's running for State Senate in District 11. Welcome, Jackie, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you so much. Well, thank you for hosting and everyone for participating. I am running for State Senate to bring about fundamental change from the bottom up. I announced my candidacy for this race in late November, but my journey to this point started several years ago. In December of 2016, I left the Bay Area and traveled to join my Lakota relatives and our allies at the Standing Rock Indian Reservation to protest the Dakota Access Pipeline. The path of the pipeline goes through my tribe, MHA Nation, and there Indigenous women my age go missing among the oil fields and man camps. And if my grandmother hadn't been displaced and relocated from there, I could have easily been one of them. The pipeline goes through sacred burial sites and the Missouri River, which our people have relied on for millennia for fresh drinking water. The pipeline company bulldozed our sacred sites, set German shepherds on peaceful protesters, and deployed water cannons and flashbang grenades on women, children, and the elderly. When I left Standing Rock, I really had to question what kind of economic system would unleash this kind of violence. So I followed the money from North Dakota all the way back to San Francisco. And when I returned to the Bay Area, I immediately began organizing to create a public bank, and the goal being to divest our billions of taxpayer dollars from Wall Street banks and reinvest in affordable housing, small businesses, renewable energy, and public infrastructure. I co-founded the San Francisco Public Bank Coalition, and in 2019, we went toe-to-toe with the bankers lobby in Sacramento and passed Public Bank Bill AB 857, the first law of its kind in the whole country to allow local cities to start their own public banks. Now we are pushing for a state bank that would democratize the fifth largest economy in the world. And that's what my campaign is about today. It's fundamentally changing the economy to work for everyday people, not just big corporations and the wealthy. You know, since March, the Bay Area's billionaires have grown their wealth by $138 billion while we all struggle with this pandemic. And in Sacramento, our Democratic supermajority cut funding for public college students, public employees, working class families, and small businesses, but didn't pass a millionaire's or even a billionaire's tax. I think that changing times call for new leaders with bolder visions of our future. That's why I'm proud to be an open democratic socialist, queer woman of color, running for real rent and mortgage relief, an Indigenous wildfire task force, expanded public school funding, a Green New Deal for California, single-payer healthcare, defunding the police and reinvesting in communities, saving public transportation, and taxing the wealthy. And I am the only candidate in this race to reject both direct contributions and indirect support from real estate interests, charter school advocates, law enforcement unions, rideshare and car companies, billionaires, and fossil fuel interests. As far as this particular race, affordable housing is one of the biggest issues in California. My plan for affordable housing is on my website, JackieForSenate.com. But basically, it starts with the premise that actually the private market can't provide for all of the affordable housing that we need, especially for low-income people and moderate-income people. If we really want to keep people in their homes during this pandemic, if we really want to make sure that this district, San Francisco, Northern San Mateo County, is truly affordable for all, we need to commit the funding. That's why I'm proposing a $100 billion California Housing Emergency Fund that will provide for funding to take 200,000 units off of the speculative market entirely and 100,000 units of social housing. As well, it would provide funding for rehabilitating our existing stock of public housing, which is disproportionately occupied by people of color and working class people. We also need to focus on keeping people in their homes. That's why I support rolling back the Costa-Hawkins Act. I support Prop 21. I also support rolling back the Ellis Act to prevent tenants from without just cause evictions. I support a universal rights council for anyone facing eviction, vacancy taxes to open up homes at lower prices, and much more on my website. Again, I'm the only candidate in this race to reject contributions from the real estate lobby. In closing, I also have much more on my website, JackieForSenate.com. I encourage you all to visit that platform. You can see that I am endorsed by the California Teachers Association, the Affordable Housing Alliance, San Francisco Tenants Union, and a number of other progressive groups here in the district and across the state. at a time when public schools are struggling, California teachers and educators have put their trust in my plan to fully fund public education. Um, as well, on the issue of homelessness, I support expanding the infrastructure of our supportive housing and mental health institutions to be able to actually bring people the services and housing that they need. Sheltering and navigation centers are just the tip of the iceberg, but we really need permanent solutions. On the subject of policing, I'm backed by the co-founders of Black Lives Matter. I've been fighting against police violence my entire adult life. And, I am not taking contributions from the law enforcement unions. The people in this district have made tremendous sacrifices this year. We've hunkered at home and we braved police violence to march in the streets because we really care about one another and we want safety and justice for the most vulnerable in our society. This November, we deserve leaders with that same courage. We deserve leaders who will ensure that not just working people, but the wealthiest interests in the state also pull their weight. Before the pandemic, California had the 5th largest economy in the world and the highest poverty rate in the nation and the lowest per student spending. This is not a bug of our political system, it is a feature. And yet, our insurgent campaign has drawn thousands of people who really dare to hope that fundamental change is possible when we band together. And in just 10 months, we've built a movement to pass universal health care, invest in affordable housing, save our schools and transit systems, redress income inequality, solve the homeless emergency, end police violence, implement a Green New Deal, and protect the human rights of all Californians. So this year has really reset our entire understanding of what's possible, and unprecedented challenges demand unprecedented solutions. And as the saying goes, where California goes, so goes the nation. So join us in these next few weeks and let's show the nation where we're going. Thank you.
Okay, that's Jackie for Senate, and thank you, Jackie Fielder.
Thank you so much.